Welcome to the Artificial Fluency Podcast. I'm Emma, and today we will talk about something different. If you're looking to improve your English listening and writing skills, you're in the right place. In this episode, we will talk about simple things you can do every morning to make real progress in your English. As you listen to some real-life stories, you'll notice how these actions can help you understand and use English more easily. Don't forget to press the like button if you find this episode helpful. So, let me ask you a few questions. Have you ever felt like your English is not improving fast enough? Or maybe you want to sound more fluent when you speak. What if I told you that making a few small changes to your morning routine could actually make a big difference? Now, let me tell you about my friend Daniel. He used to struggle with English, especially with listening and writing. He felt frustrated because he couldn't understand people in conversations, and his writing wasn't as clear as he wanted it to be. One day, Daniel decided to make some changes to his morning routine. He started his day by listening to a short English podcast while drinking his coffee. It was just a few minutes, but it made a huge difference. Every morning, he would listen and try to repeat some phrases from the podcast. This simple habit helped him improve his listening skills because he became familiar with common expressions and sounds in English. After a couple of weeks, Daniel noticed that he could understand more when speaking with others, and his writing became more natural. He also started writing in English every morning. He would write about his plans for the day or maybe a short story. Writing in English every day helped him think in English, which made speaking easier. His confidence grew, and soon he could hold conversations without thinking too much. But why does this work? Well, the key is repetition. Just like when we learn a new song or how to play an instrument, the more you practice, the better you get. Morning routines are powerful because they set the tone for the rest of the day. If you start your morning with English, your brain is more likely to be in English mode throughout the day. Let's talk about another example. Meet Sarah. Sarah works full-time and has a busy schedule, but she also wanted to improve her English. Every morning, she would listen to a short story in English while she was getting ready for work. Afterward, she would try to write down the main points of the story, focusing on new vocabulary she learned. This small habit helped Sarah improve her listening and writing skills without taking up too much of her time. You can do the same. Even if you only have 10 or 15 minutes in the morning, you can make it count. Whether you listen to a short podcast, watch a short video, or read a few pages of a book in English, these little moments add up over time. And don't forget to write. You can write about your daily activities, thoughts, or even make up a story in English. This will help you become more comfortable with using the language in your daily life. By doing these simple things every morning, you'll not only improve your listening and writing skills, but also build a strong foundation for speaking and understanding English. Remember, it's all about consistency and making English a part of your daily routine. This morning routine can become your secret weapon for English success. If you stay committed and make these small changes, I promise you'll start noticing real progress. So why not start tomorrow? Pick a podcast, listen for 10 minutes, and write down a few things you learned. Let's see how much better you can get by the end of the week. One great way to start your day is by setting a small goal related to English. For example, let's look at my friend Tom. Tom's job requires him to write emails in English every day. However, he often struggled with writing professionally. So Tom decided to start writing a short email every morning as practice. At first, his emails were simple, but over time, he started using more complex sentences. He found that the more he practiced writing these emails, the easier it became. He could write faster, and his sentences were more natural. Tom's morning habit of writing emails helped him focus on grammar and vocabulary, But more importantly, it helped him practice expressing his thoughts clearly in English. Writing every morning is a wonderful habit to develop, especially if you want to improve your writing skills. It doesn't need to be a long email or essay. Just a few sentences to get started, and over time, you'll see your improvement. Let's talk about another method that works well for many learners: speaking practice. You might wonder how you can practice speaking when no one is around to talk to. Well, my friend James found an excellent solution. Every morning, while he's getting ready for work, he spends a few minutes speaking to himself in English. He might describe what he's doing, like, "Now I'm brushing my teeth," or he might talk about his plans for the day. This helped James become more comfortable speaking aloud, even when he was by himself. He wasn't afraid of making mistakes because he was just practicing. Over time, speaking to himself helped him build confidence, and soon he could speak more naturally with others. Speaking in English doesn't always require a conversation partner. You can talk to yourself or practice reading aloud from a book or article. The key is consistency. When you make it a habit, you'll find yourself speaking more clearly and confidently, which is especially helpful when you need to have real conversations in English. You can also use these techniques to practice listening. Let's say you're making breakfast and you have a podcast or an English news report playing in the background. Even if you're not able to focus completely, your brain is still absorbing the language. Over time, this passive listening can help you understand more when you hear native speakers talk. It's like putting small pieces of a puzzle together until the full picture becomes clearer. And don't forget about reading. Reading is one of the best ways to improve your vocabulary and understanding of sentence structure. Start with a simple book or article in English and try to read a chapter or a few pages each morning. You can also keep a notebook where you write down any new words or phrases you come across. By reviewing these words regularly, you'll remember them better. For example, my cousin Anna, who's an intermediate English learner, began reading a short article every morning during her breakfast. At first, she struggled with some of the vocabulary, but she didn't give up. Every day, she wrote down the new words and their meanings. After a few weeks, she realized that she was able to read more quickly and with less effort. It became easier for her to understand texts, and her vocabulary grew significantly. The great thing about reading is that it exposes you to different types of language: formal, informal, professional, or casual, which helps you improve all areas of your language skills. The more you read, the more natural your English will sound, and the better you'll be able to use new words when speaking or writing. Now let's talk about something really simple, but very powerful: setting reminders for English practice. I've seen this work wonders for many people, including my friend David. He used to forget to practice English during his busy mornings, but then he set a reminder on his phone every day. It simply said, "Spend 10 minutes practicing English." Every time the reminder went off, David knew it was time to listen to a podcast or write a quick paragraph in English. These daily reminders helped David stay on track and made it easier to form a routine. Consistency is key when it comes to improving your English. It's not about spending hours each day, but about taking small steps. One more idea is to practice your listening skills while doing other activities, like cleaning or exercising. Let's take Emily as an example. Emily loves to go for a walk every morning. She used to listen to music, but then she switched to listening to English podcasts. At first, it was a little challenging because she wasn't used to hearing natural conversations in English, but she stuck with it. After a few weeks, she noticed that she could understand more and more. She became better at identifying different accents and expressions, which helped her improve her overall listening skills. By using your time wisely, like during your morning walks, you can practice English even when you're busy with other tasks. You'll find that it's easier to understand conversations and feel more comfortable in English-speaking situations. So to sum up, here are some simple ideas for improving your English every morning. Write in English every day. Practice. Writing short emails or journaling. Speak to yourself in English. Describe your actions or talk about your plans. Listen to English during your routine. Listen to podcasts or news reports while you work. Read a little bit every morning. Choose an article or a short book to read in English. Set reminders. Make a habit of practicing English by setting daily reminders. Use time wisely. Listen to English during activities like walking, cooking, or cleaning. Each of these small changes can help you improve your listening, writing, and even speaking skills in just a few minutes every day. It's not about doing everything at once, but about staying consistent. So far, we've discussed how important it is to establish a routine for improving your English every morning. And we've looked at simple activities like writing, reading, speaking, and listening. Now let's dive even deeper and explore some other fun and engaging ways to make your English practice more effective, especially if you want to improve faster. Let me tell you about Mark, who had been learning English for a few years but was struggling with his confidence. He understood English well when he read it or heard it, but when it came time to speak, he froze. Mark knew that he needed to make speaking a part of his daily routine, so he decided to start small. Every morning, after waking up, Mark spent about 10 minutes talking to himself in English. At first it felt strange, but he didn't care. He would talk about his plans for the day or give a summary of what happened yesterday. "Today, I'm going to the gym after work," Mark would say aloud while getting dressed. He would practice simple sentences, repeating them until they felt natural. You might be thinking, talking to yourself in English sounds awkward. But here's the thing. Mark found that this little habit made him more comfortable with speaking. He didn't feel the pressure of talking to a partner, so he could focus on fluency rather than perfection. Over time, he started sounding more natural and confident. It didn't matter if he was alone. He knew that this practice was helping him improve his speaking skills. So, if you want to practice speaking too, try what Mark did. Just find a few minutes in your morning routine and talk aloud to yourself. Don't worry if you make mistakes. The point is to get used to speaking in English, and the more you do it, the easier it will become. Plus, if you make a habit of it, every day you'll notice that your speaking improves naturally, just like Mark did. Now let's talk about another powerful method that helped my friend Rachel. Rachel was an intermediate learner, and while she could understand English well, she felt stuck when it came to writing. She was unsure of how to express her ideas clearly, especially in emails. Her goal was to write in a more professional and confident way. So Rachel started a new habit, writing a quick summary every morning. Every day, Rachel would choose a news article or a blog post, read it, and then write a brief summary of what she read in English. It wasn't about writing a perfect summary, but simply practicing how to put her thoughts into words. By doing this, Rachel got more comfortable with writing. She learned new vocabulary from the articles, and over time, her writing became clearer. She also learned how to structure her ideas in a more logical way. Rachel's story shows us that writing doesn't have to be complicated or long to be effective. It's about building confidence and developing the ability to express yourself in English. If you're someone who wants to improve your writing, consider starting with simple summaries or short journal entries. You can write about what you did the day before, or write a few sentences about something you learned. The more you write, the better your writing will become. Writing every day is also a great way to improve your grammar and vocabulary. When you focus on using new words and proper sentence structure, it helps you remember them better. Plus, over time, you'll start to feel more confident when you write in English, whether it's an email, a message, or even a story. Now let's talk about how listening can be just as important as speaking or writing. A lot of English learners struggle with understanding spoken English, especially when it comes to listening to native speakers. This can be difficult because native speakers often speak quickly and use slang or idiomatic expressions. However, listening every day can help you get used to the natural flow of conversation. Let me give you an example of how my friend Laura improved her listening skills. Laura had been learning English for a few years, but she found it hard to keep up with conversations, especially when they were fast. She didn't know what to do, but she decided to make a simple change. Every morning, Laura would listen to an English podcast while she was preparing breakfast. She started with shorter podcasts, about 10 to 15 minutes long, and she focused on understanding the main ideas rather than catching every single word. At first, it was a challenge, and there were times when she didn't understand much, but she stuck with it. After a few weeks, Laura began to notice that she could understand more of the conversation, even when the speaker was talking quickly. She also got better at picking up new vocabulary and phrases, which helped her understand other English speakers better. What's the key to Laura's success? Consistency. By listening every morning, even for just 10 minutes, Laura helped her brain get used to the rhythm of English speech. She learned to identify common phrases and expressions, which made her feel more confident when speaking with others. This is why listening is so important. It helps you get used to how English sounds in real conversations. The more you listen, the better you'll understand. So, whether you're listening to a podcast, an audiobook, or even the news, make sure to include listening practice in your daily routine. Another great way to practice listening is by using videos. For example, my friend John loves to watch YouTube videos in English every morning. He started by watching short videos about things he was interested in, like technology and business. At first, it was difficult because the speakers were talking quickly. But John didn't give up. Over time, he began to catch more of what they were saying and even started picking up new words and phrases. Watching videos is a great way to practice because you get to hear natural speech and see the context in which certain phrases are used. One tip John recommends is to watch the same video more than once. The first time, just listen and try to understand the main idea. The second time, focus on the words or phrases that were difficult. The third time, try to repeat some of the sentences aloud. This technique helps you improve both your listening and speaking skills, and you'll get better at understanding and using English. Now, let's talk about another key habit that can help you improve your English. Setting goals. And tracking your progress is essential. This is something my friend Emma did when she wanted to take her English skills to the next level. Every morning, she set a small, achievable goal. For example, one day she might set a goal to learn 5 new vocabulary words and use them in sentences by the end of the day. The next day, her goal might be to listen to a 15-minute podcast and write a summary of it. Setting goals is important because it gives you something to focus on. It also helps you stay motivated. When you meet your goal, you feel accomplished, and that motivates you to keep going. Emma kept track of her progress in a notebook. Every week, she would look back at the goals she had achieved and see how much she had improved. This kept her on track and made her feel proud of her efforts. To wrap up, here are some more ideas to help you improve your English in the mornings. Set small, achievable goals every day. It could be something simple like learning new vocabulary or writing a few sentences. Use passive listening. Listen to podcasts or English news while doing other tasks like making breakfast or cleaning. Watch videos in English. Focus on understanding the main idea first, then watch again to pick up details. Read a little every morning. Even a short article or blog post can help expand your vocabulary and improve your reading skills. Track your progress. Keep a notebook to track your daily goals and see how much you've improved. All of these activities, when practiced regularly, will help you improve your listening, speaking, and writing skills in English. Just remember, it's not about doing everything perfectly, but about making consistent efforts every day. As we continue, I want to share some more stories of learners who improve their English by including simple yet powerful practices in their morning routines. These habits can really make a difference, and I'll show you how you can use them to improve your English every day. Take Simon, for example. He had been studying English for a while, but he felt like something was missing. He could read and understand most things, and his writing wasn't too bad, but when it came to listening to real-life conversations, he found it difficult. Simon realized that part of the problem was he wasn't practicing enough with real, everyday English. So Simon decided to change his approach. Every morning while making coffee, he began listening to English podcasts that focused on real-life situations. These weren't podcasts about grammar or vocabulary rules, but rather about normal conversations, just like the ones you might hear in a cafe or at work. Simon chose podcasts where the host spoke casually and used slang or phrases people actually use in day-to-day life. This simple habit of listening to podcasts about everyday conversations helped Simon in several ways. First, he started to get used to the speed and rhythm of natural English. Listening to podcasts also helped him pick up new words and phrases that weren't in his textbooks. Over time, Simon found that he was able to understand more when he listened to people talk in real situations, whether it was a friend or someone he met while traveling. If you want to improve your listening skills just like Simon did, try listening to podcasts or watch videos that feature normal conversational English. This can help you understand what people say in real life and teach you how to use phrases you might not find in formal lessons. By listening for just 10 to 15 minutes every morning, you'll see an improvement in your understanding of everyday English. Another powerful morning routine is what my friend Lily did to improve her English vocabulary. Lily always felt like her vocabulary was limited. She could understand basic conversations, but when it came to expressing herself in different situations, she didn't always have the right words. So Lily decided to set herself a challenge. Every morning, she would pick a theme for the day. One day she might choose travel, and the next day, business. Then she'd spend about 15 minutes reading an article related to that theme. After reading, she would write down 5 new words she didn't know and look up their meanings. Once she understood the words, Lily would try to use them in her sentences during the day. For example, one morning, Lily read an article about traveling to new countries. She learned words like passport, itinerary, and customs. Then she made sentences with these words like, I need to check my passport before my trip, or my itinerary includes visiting museums in the city. This method of focusing on specific topics each day helped Lily expand her vocabulary in a more focused way. She wasn't just learning random words, but instead learning words that were relevant to the things she was interested in. And because she used them in sentences, she was more likely to remember them. If you want to try something similar, pick a topic that interests you and learn 5 new words each day. It could be anything from food to technology to sports. The key is to make these new words a part of your daily conversation. The more you use them, the better your vocabulary will become. Now let's talk about reading. I know it might sound simple, but reading every morning can be one of the best ways to improve your English skills. And don't worry, it doesn't have to be difficult or boring. You can start with short stories, articles, or even fun blog posts. Reading every day helps you improve your understanding of grammar, sentence structure, and vocabulary. Let me tell you the story of Jack. Jack was an intermediate English learner, and like many learners, He struggled with understanding sentence structure in English. He had studied grammar, but he still found it hard to apply the rules in real conversations. Jack knew that to improve, he needed to spend more time reading and paying attention to how sentences were formed in context. Every morning, Jack would wake up 15 minutes earlier to read a short article or a news story in English. He focused on reading at a natural pace without worrying too much about understanding every single word. Instead, he focused on understanding the main idea and paying attention to how the sentences were constructed. After reading, Jack would go back and pick out a few interesting phrases and try to use them later in conversation. This reading habit made a huge difference for Jack. He started to recognize patterns in sentence structure, which made it easier for him to speak and write more naturally. Plus, reading articles about things he enjoyed, like sports and technology, helped him stay motivated to keep learning. If you want to improve your reading skills, try setting aside a few minutes each morning to read something in English. Choose topics that interest you so that you'll enjoy it more. And remember, don't get frustrated if you don't understand everything. Just focus on the main idea, and you'll improve over time. Speaking of sentence structure, let's move on to grammar. A lot of people struggle with grammar, and it's easy to feel overwhelmed when you try to learn all the rules. But don't worry, you don't have to spend hours studying grammar every day. Instead, you can use small habits to practice. Take Emma, for example. She wanted to improve her grammar, but she didn't have the time to study for hours each day. So she set a simple goal: to practice one grammar point every morning. Every day, Emma would take 5 minutes to review one grammar rule. For example, one day she might practice the past simple tense, and the next day she would review the present perfect tense. To make this practice more fun, Emma would write short sentences using the grammar rule she was focusing on. For example, when practicing the past simple tense, Emma might write, "I visited Paris last year," or "He worked late yesterday." By doing this every day, Emma improved her grammar without feeling overwhelmed. You can try the same approach. Pick one grammar rule to focus on each day and practice it with simple sentences. Over time, you'll start to see improvement in how you use grammar in both speaking and writing. Now, let's talk about speaking practice again. I know we've mentioned this before, but it's so important that it's worth repeating. If you really want to improve your English, you have to speak it regularly. And this doesn't always mean talking to someone else. You can practice speaking by yourself as well. Tom, a good friend of mine, was a beginner learner when he first started focusing on speaking. He had always felt nervous about speaking in front of others, so he avoided it. But then he decided to try a new approach, speaking to himself in the mirror. Every morning, Tom would stand in front of the mirror and talk about his plans for the day. He would also practice introducing himself and saying simple sentences. At first, Tom felt awkward, but over time he got more comfortable. Speaking in front of the mirror helped him see his body language and hear how he sounded. He became more aware of his pronunciation and tone, and that helped him speak more confidently when he interacted with others. If you're hesitant about speaking to others in English, try speaking to yourself first. You can practice your sentences, check your pronunciation, and become more confident with speaking over time. In addition to speaking, listening is another key skill. And if you're someone who struggles with understanding different accents or fast speakers, one of the best things you can do is practice listening to English with different accents. Sarah, who lives in the UK, wanted to get better at understanding American English. So she made a plan. Every morning, while getting ready, Sarah would listen to American podcasts, even though she found the accents difficult to understand at first. Over time, she got used to the rhythm and flow of American English. She found that listening to different accents helped her become more flexible in understanding